In this video, we're going to show you how to add your own custom functions. We're working in the robot.ino firmware and inside of the build IDE. And if I scroll down to the loop method or to the loop function, you'll see that earlier I was able to make modifications by adding additional lines inside of the loop function. Now, here we had this call to this function called write and another one called delay. And these are functions that were written somewhere else. Now, write is a function that's defined inside of our firmware, whereas delay was a function that was written in a different library, but it's included for us to use inside of this firmware. But let's take a look at the write function. So this is a function call, and a function call basically means we're activating the function and running whatever code is wrapped up inside of that function. And functions are a way of wrapping up a lot of code so that it's very convenient for us to do a whole bunch of things with only one call to the name of the function. And if we wanted to make modifications to the function, we would really only need to modify it in one place as opposed to cutting and pasting it, which is really not the way to do things. Now, where is this write function defined? Well, if I go up here to the custom function section, you'll notice that I do have a function called write. And this is the function name right there. Now, this is a function definition, and a definition shows us what goes inside of it. And each of these lines of code is run in sequence when I call the write function. You'll notice that I have this thing that says left motor run forward and right motor run backward, which causes the robot to turn to the right. This is the name of the function, and then I have some additional stuff surrounding it, which for now I'm really going to go ahead and ignore because it's not important for us for the time being for us to be able to write our own function. Let's say I wanted to create a function called backward, and that's easily done by modifying the forward function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the entire function, and that's everything from int down to this closing curly brace. And you'll notice that there's an opening curly brace over here on that first line of the function, and then a closing curly brace here. So I'm going to copy it and then find some space after my last function and paste it. Now, the first thing I want to do is modify it so it says backward. One thing that I want to also stress is that it's important to verify your code every single time you make a change. And when I verify it, it makes sure that everything is syntactically correct. In other words, there are no spelling errors and that we have the correct punctuation and spacing if necessary. But it's important to do that because let's say I did make some type of mistake. Like let's say I put an extra space there for whatever reason, and I'm not allowed to have spaces in my function names. If I was to click the verify button, you'll notice that I get this huge error now, which doesn't really tell us what the mistake was. It's very nebulous. So therefore, if I just go ahead and hit undo, I can undo that mistake and re-verify it. And what I like to tell my students is that it's easier to write code that is correct than it is to go back and fix syntax errors that were made a long time ago. So you're probably going to want to get in the habit of making a small change and then hitting the verify button. So here I'm going to go ahead and make these changes as well so that the motors run backwards, and I'll go ahead and verify them. Once it's verified, I know that this function is good to go, and I can call it using the name backward. So down inside of loop, I can now use the backward function, if I so choose, by saying backward, like so. And now I have written an additional function, and once again, I'm going to verify it just to make sure that everything works. And if it compiled successfully, now that I've written the function and called the function, I can go ahead and use the flash button to flash it to my robot and see the function in action.